good morning, everyone, and welcome to Grants Class CSL. See everybody out here for Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. And we're gonna start out here. Take a look at now.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yay.
Well, welcome to the Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Steve Van Meter, your senior minister, and I'm here to welcome you. I know you have a lot of different places you can go on Sunday mornings, but you found yourself here This is the place to be. You made it. Relax. We have an awesome program planned for you. As you can see, we have some special music that's going to be happening. So please, stay for the miracle. Don't leave before the magic happens, as they say. But we're going to do what we do every Sunday, and that's recite our vision mission statement up on the screen that says, "We are open, loving, spiritual community dedicated to evolving consciousness through teaching spiritual principles." Again, if you found yourself here, you just wandered in because you had nowhere else to go, sit tight. This is the place to be. You have made it. And again, happy Mother's Day. If you're a mother, thank you. And if you're not one, thank your mother. I don't mean it like that. I mean, thank your mother because you're here. Well, we are going to start with some announcements. I would like to invite our board president and Jamaica Wallace, who's also a practitioner.
Announcements. All right, for starters, we've got slides. We're changing things here. All right, would you like to share your time and talents? We are looking for volunteers. Of positions that are available are in our bookstore, our AV department, our spiritual gardeners, our kitchen angels, and our greeters. And if there's something else you can think of you'd like to volunteer, we are open to that. So there is a sign-up sheet on the back counter, or you can talk to me or Reverend Steve and just let us know what you'd like to help with. Next, upcoming events. We have our special, hang on, I can't see that far. Okay, we have a special event planned for Saturday, May the 27th, coming up at Hummingbird Farm Creeks and Bistro from 12 to 3 p.m. There's going to be live music with Treja and the Jam Session Players. There will be appetizers, pizza, salad, and refreshments provided, and it's only $15 per person. You can contact Chris or Treja for more information on that. And there's also posters available, and all the information is on our website and in our emails. Next. Okay, we have our very own animal expert, Ann Southcombe, is going to be giving us a special tour out at Wildlife Images on June the 10th from 10 to 2. This is going to be so exciting and fun, you guys. Please make sure you bring a sack lunch. There is a sign up available on the back counter, and Anne has graciously offered to gift her book, A Wild Life, to those who are able to attend this. Coming up, June the 18th, Father's Day is coming. Yay! Honor those fathers as well. We're going to have a very special picnic here at the center, so make sure you bring your lawn chair on that day and a side dish, and we will get back to you with more details as we get closer to that. Next. All right, would you like to go on a treasure hunt? Yes. Yes, right? We are having our second annual fun fair on June the 24th. We're going to have live music, special presentations, healing services, local vendors, and the center is going to be having a barbecue as well. We have amazing youth activities planned, which does include a treasure hunt and making your own treasure box. So make sure you bring your friends and family and let everybody you know about it, and come visit and hang out with us on that day. Next. All right, our metaphysical book study group continues Sunday morning from 9 to 9:45 right here in the conference room. And that is led by Reverend Steve. And the book that we are studying right now is Living the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. Next. And then our practitioners are continuing to offer our 15-minute meditation on Sunday mornings before the service. And this begins at 9:50. It's over in the LEC and it goes till 10:05. So please come and join us. And I think that is it. Please stand and join me as we sing We Are One.
And in this unity, we shall live in harmony as we stand strong, as we are one. We are one. We are one. We are one. In this unity, we shall live in harmony as we stand strong, as we are one.
Good morning. I'm Becky Dennerline, one of the practitioners here, and I'd love for you to join me in reading aloud today's gratitude.
I embrace the darkness as well as the light, and I am thankful, and so it is.
And so it is. Well, good morning. It's so wonderful to see everyone here and on Zoom this morning. It is Mother's Day. What a special day. We all have one, right? Just a little bit about what a practitioner is, in case you haven't been here before or haven't gotten familiar with it. We're the healing arm of the spiritual center here. And we've taken several years of classes and become licensed practitioners. So we teach classes and we hold workshops and we pray with you. So if you are in need of prayer or in want of prayer or in joy of prayer, please contact us. Paula Peterson is holding the high watch at the back of the room here. And she is one of the other practitioners, and we have several of us are available to pray with you today in person after the service, if you so desire. If you are able to be a prayer practitioner today, we have several of us here. So please call on us. We are here to serve you. And our phone number's in the program and on the website. So if there's anything that you are just holding in your heart, whether it's an issue or it's just some joy or some great good that you want to see multiply, that's what affirmative prayer does. So please call on us. You can also submit a prayer online at our website too, if you prefer, or use the little pieces of paper in the seat backs to make a prayer request and put it in the offering or in the little box at the back. All these different ways you can access prayer 24/7. Today, we have some incredible flowers by Barbara Scott. Let's give Barbara. That's such an incredible arranger of beauty. And I just want to make one quick thank you to Ann Southcombe for the incredible work here in our yard, which is terrific. If Ski Spiritual Garden calls to you, please see Ann or me.
There's more flowers too.
And yes, we've got more flowers. That's a surprise. Spoil his surprise. Oh, my goodness. Well, if there's anybody here for the first time, we would love to welcome you with a little packet that tells you something about us. If you raise your hand, if you've been here, never been here before, we'd love to welcome you. Thank you for being with us, and we welcome you to come out and meet us and let us meet you after the service at our little potluck that's going to go on here after the service. So please feel free to stay. You are most welcome. If you haven't turned off your cell phone, please do that. And then we can read this wonderful prayer on our screen.
I know that darkness gives birth to light. Like winter's stillness precedes spring bursting forth with new life. I embrace all seasons of my life. Each season holds value and meaning, and so it is.
And so it is. Let's sing our song as we remain seated. I am loved.
Is in my love.
So today we celebrate mothers. The person whose womb held us and allowed us to grow in the dark for 9 months. Considering the birth process, could we be here without the cradling of the dark womb before we emerged into light? No, I don't think so. We needed that dark before we got into the light to get us going into this light. And so it continues during our lives that one doesn't exist without the other. They have their own traits and characteristics, and they work in unison as complements within the spectrum. Can you imagine one without the other? I can't. I'm so grateful that today's service is an opportunity to explore how to appreciate and welcome both light and dark for what each bring to us. I know that humans have likened darkness to evil for eons. We've generally been taught to fear instead of embrace the darkness. Yet the darkness is the fertile space of creation, the womb, the beginning of new ideas. In order to appreciate the beauty of darkness, the specialness of it, we need to unlearn the stigmas, the negative ideas about what's necessary. What if we partnered with the dark instead of fearing or controlling or labeling? What if we held the unknown with wonderment instead of fear? As Science of Mind students, we know that Ernest Holmes wrote and taught in the Science of Mind textbook, change your thinking, change your life. This is another opportunity today to shift, to expand our ideas of darkness and to learn to embrace it as the necessary balance to light. So now I invite you to close your eyes or take a soft focus on something that brings you deep peace. As we go into prayer, and afterwards spend a moment or two in meditation. As we begin our journey exploring how our thoughts shape our reality. We believe that what we focus on manifests, and what we resist persists. So let us look inward to find where we hold negativity and fear about darkness. Let us know and remember that the laws of the universe work equally, regardless. So I invite you to sit in the silence with your perceptions of light and dark for a few moments. I'm grateful for this time to go deep and gain awareness of the inner dynamics that may sabotage our good and work to change it. We now embrace this practice to unlearn our fear of the darkness, knowing that darkness can show us the way home when we're lost, just as well as the light can. We hold this truth, we believe it, and we surrender to its magnificence today and every day. And together we say,
So it is.
Well, it's time for some very special music and then Reverend Stephen's talk.
Joyful Jam. Stay strong, keep your faith alive. Whatever comes to meet us, the darkness won't defeat us. Stay strong, keep your faith alive. Stay strong, let's all come together. Let's take care of each other. Stay strong, keep your faith alive. Now, raise your hand in the air. Stay strong, keep your faith alive. Stay on track. Stay strong, keep your faith alive. Hands in hands, side by side, with arms open wide. Stay strong, keep your faith alive. Help others find the way to live heaven here today. Stay strong, keep your faith alive. Raise your hand, raise your hand in the air. Stay strong, keep your faith alive. Stay strong, keep your faith alive. Time like these, we need to remember what is real. Stay strong, keep your faith alive. United in our quest, where love and happiness. Stay strong, keep your faith alive. Keep your faith, keep your faith in the air, in the air. Stay strong, keep your faith alive. Stay upright, stay strong, keep your faith alive. Jai Ram, Ram, Bolo, Jai Ram, Ram, Bolo, Jai Ram, Ram, Bolo, Sita Ram. Jai Ram, Ram, Bolo, Jai Ram, Ram, Bolo, Jai Ram, Ram, Bolo, Sita Ram. Jai Ram, Ram, Bolo, Jai Ram, Ram, Bolo, Jai Ram. Sita Ram, Jai Ram, Ram, Jai Ram, Ram,
Yeah, what do you think? How's that?
We got another. We got another. We're saving our other song for the offertory. So stay tuned. Give you something to hang out and wait for, right? Just lower this one. Well, happy Mother's Day, everybody. Isn't this great? The sun came out
So nice.
and all of a sudden it's 90 degrees. Right?
Yeah, there's some frozen.
All of a sudden it went from, there is no real spring here, right? It's just spring, and so yeah, some years.
Well, it comes in between all the other stuff.
Well, and we may get a spring out of this yet, so stay tuned. Well, this May theme is Light Within the Shadows. Today's title is Unlearning the Fear of Darkness. We have, as a society, associated darkness with evil. It's bad. Oh, it's a bad thing. Ooh. And we're scared of the dark as children, aren't we sometimes? I still sleep with a nightlight. It's just, I've gotten used to that. I like to, when I do open my eyes, know where I am at, We've been generally taught to fear instead of embrace the darkness. The darkness is the fertile space of creation, creativity, and the womb of consciousness. So when we meditate, we close our eyes, right? Because we want to block out any distractions in consciousness. So the darkness is not something to be feared, it's something to actually bring us into a whole new awareness. It's part of our spiritual experience, is to embrace that darkness. Because within that darkness, we're not distracted by the consciousness of what we might see. We get to make it up as we go along. We ascend into the darkness, the place between the worlds of light and darkness. Our mothers always told us not to be afraid of the dark, but to embrace it. Darkness is not bad, it's that place of discovery. The dark, unconscious consciousness, space of the mother's womb, is where life begins. The darkness gives birth to the light. And in order to appreciate the beauty of the darkness, we have to unlearn the stigmas about darkness. What if partnered with the dark was understanding that there is something to be learned, something to be understood, something to be cherished within the darkness? What if we held the unknown with wonderment instead of fear? These healthy shifts in consciousness bring us the change that change our relationships to the darkness and helps us enrich the shadow and the light. According to the Science of Mind principles, our thoughts shape our reality. What we focus on manifests, and what we resist persists. Resist not error, it says in the Bible. Resist not evil. But that has a whole connotation to it. Resist not the darkness. What if you were to just let yourself go? Part of you goes, I don't want to let myself go. What might happen to me? I may spin out of control. Well, maybe we need to relinquish control a bit. Are you a controller? Are you an over-controller? I want to be in charge of everything. It doesn't work that way. I'm not leading the band. I'm just playing the bass. No wonder we're afraid of the dark. We make affirmations all the time about the negativity and mysteriousness of the darkness. We also know from Science of Mind principles that the laws of the universe work equally regardless and have use within that darkness to use it wisely and carefully. Fire and heat can burn. Gravity can hold things to the earth or have things come crashing down. Electricity can provide light or it can electrocute. You know, the wall outlet, when you get your finger close to it, it doesn't say, whoa, I don't think you want to do that. If you've ever gotten a little too close as a kid, you wanted to see what was in there, you maybe got shocked into the next plane of existence on how powerful that can be. You learn pretty quick, just keep your finger out of the outlet. If our subconscious mind is filled with negativity about the dark, we are bound to manifest negativity in our experience based on those thoughts and fears. If we can face our fears and come to terms with it, it's no longer a fear. It's just another place. It's not something to be afraid of. It's something to be embraced and to be loved. It's up to us to gain this awareness of these inner dynamics that can sabotage our good and work to change it. Ernest Holmes said, change your thinking and change your life. Change your thinking about the darkness. How many have walked through the dark night of the soul? I think if you found yourself in this room, you either walked through it unknowingly or you embraced it and walked through it and you found yourself here. You know, who knows who cried themselves to sleep last night? We've all had nights like that where we didn't know where to turn. We didn't know what to do. And it's okay because you found yourself here. And there is strength here. You don't ever have to be in distress ever again. Growth is mandatory, but suffering is optional. So call a practitioner. Call someone who is not attached to your story that can tell you the truth about what's really happening. And it is from that that you can walk through the darkness. The darkness can show us the way home when we're lost, just as the light can, if we can trust it and surrender to its magnificence and keep walking. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. I shall not build a condo there. I shall not pitch a tent. I shall not buy the t-shirt. I shall continue walking and look for the light. And embrace the darkness. Have fun in it. What makes a candle so beautiful? Because it's in the dark and it's flickering. And it gives us that sense. Without the darkness, the beauty of the candle would never be shown. Takes me to my 3 talking points. Number 1, is that for real? Others' fears are not ours to assume, yet often learn from others' fears. We learn from other people's fears. Some people do not understand the dark and cause a generalized misinterpretation of the shadow space because of it. But that doesn't have to be our experience. Being in the dark of life issues can also cause blind spots in our experience. It's not so much physical darkness. What about darkness in consciousness? What about a blind spot in your thinking? What about misinterpreting something or having a false premise about something? And maybe you've bought into this false premise in such a way that it kept you from loving completely or expressing fully. You know, a false premise is the idea that if we looked out and saw that the street was wet right now, we might assume that it had rained. And if we planned our day because we saw the street was wet and got our rain jackets on and our slickers and our boots and our gloves, when actually a truck had come down the street that had water on it and it spilled in the street, and we didn't see that happen, we're living our lives under a false premise that it's going to rain when the street got wet a different way. Sometimes things happen in our life and we think that it's a certain way. Maybe we think someone has intentionally done us wrong, when they were doing what they were doing without us in mind, and we're experiencing the darkness of it because we don't understand it. This is where we need to step back and do a prayer. If we're lost, don't get more lost. Pray the prayer of DRA, divine right action. This just says, I call in the harmony of the universe to show me the light or the enlightenment in this situation. Fear of the dark and loss of control has caused people to stereotype and ostracize people of other cultures and principles. This is due to being in the dark consciously. Fear of the unknown, such as cultural practices, languages, traditions, ways of dress, behavior. These fears then get passed down through the generations, making the myths seem real. This is what is meant by the sins of the Father being visited upon the Son. If you teach your siblings to fear things, maybe that's not their experience. Oh, don't love too much, honey, you're gonna get hurt. Well, that's not a great message. What if they're having a beautiful time loving too much? Is there too much love, really? I mean, let's not get obsessive, but it's okay to love deeply. That's why we're here, is to experience that love. No conscious expansion of awareness. We assume fear is truth because someone told us it was so. And without questioning it, we bought into it. We need to question why we believe what we believe. You know, we inherited a lot from our parents, maybe even our religious background, maybe our political party. It's okay to question those things and to go, you know, I don't think like that, or I don't think totally like that. However, when we have an open mind and an open heart about learning something new, our unlearning sometimes helps us to dissolve the space between the spaces. We lean into curiosity and exploration. It's okay to question. Don't let the question keep you from learning something new. Through openness and surrender and release, we can learn to unlearn negative thinking and learn to forgive and let go of old habits that have limited our ability to grow consciousness. Regular spiritual practices help support moving us from old patterns of belief, of fear, to something new, more productive and positive. Look for the enlightenment within the dark. Number 2, turn fear into reverence. Humans like to believe we are in charge and in control. This is where the misers of power go awry. Shadow spaces are revealed where fear of the unknown resides. When we don't know, we often make it up in order to feel like we're maintaining control. I am in control. No idea what's happening, but I'm in control. These shadows or dark spaces are blind spots, and they just need a little bit of enlightenment. Or, you know, when you have a blind spot in your car, get one of those little mirrors so you can, you know, that can show you the blind spot. Or don't make a move until you can see what's in your blind spot, because that's when you collide. The light of wisdom and knowledge, when not addressed consciously or spiritually, can sometimes bring violence or harm or oppression. Blockages in our conscious flow can result in stagnation in our thinking. But the darkness can be our friend, a space of fertile creativity. This is where genius is born. This is where we spring from the nothingness to the everythingness. It can be soothing and comfortable in darkness and yield insight and clarity. We can practice vulnerability and surrender instead of domination and control. First, we need to learn to embrace the dark, the shadow side of ourselves. We begin by feeling more comfortable and welcoming it into our world. We can retrain ourselves to ourselves to lift our faith instead of our fears. You know what worry is? It's a negative use of prayer. That's holding the challenge in place. Because if energy flows where our attention goes and we're worrying about something, the universe, you're telling the universe, I want more of that. Please send me more challenge. And we don't want to do that. But we must understand the challenge to get its gift, to get its message. And when we do, the challenge dissipates back into the nothingness from which it came. We can all call on our ancestors, our angels, our spirit guides to show us how to protect ourselves and help us to see clear to our path. We can focus on the good coming out of the darkness instead of the opposite. We can learn from our nocturnal, non-human friends who see best in the dark. We can shift our attention and approach the shadows from a place of reverence and mystery instead of from fear. This puts us on the positive side of our experience. If you're in the midst of fear, what do you know is fearless? The spirit of creation is completely fearless. The spirit of creation created billions of us to have these incredible experiences. Do you think that it fears it? No, it embraces it, it loves it. It wants us to have these experiences. It wants us to be a little afraid so that we can step out in faith. Number 3, a dark, safe haven. The darkness is a safe space of fertility and creativity. A womb where we can remember who we are and what we truly are. The unborn fetus fully embraces the darkness as its home and may feel terrified of the light. You know, when a baby comes out, it doesn't open its eyes right away. It's more like, turn off the bright lights. Man, I was sleeping, right? What if the darkness envelops us like a warm, velvety blanket? This is why we close our eyes when we meditate. The unborn baby is comforted by its mother's heartbeat and gets its nutrition from its mother through the umbilical cord. It likely wants to stay inside where it's safe, dark. An infant's instincts tells it that it's time to leave its safe, dark haven of the womb at some point. It probably yearns to stay while also yearning to come out into the world, especially because it becomes too cramped, too crowded inside the womb. Can you imagine the fear that could surface from the harsh light of the outside world after birth and leaving the comfort of this darkness? This is why we cry so much as babies. Like, I was being cared for, man. Why am I here? What if we embrace this darkness, like the unborn baby, whose cozy and loving home is the dark, creative, and fertile womb space? Perhaps our eyes will adjust to the darkness. This analogy can help us flip the paradigm and more easily unlearn the fear of the dark. So in conclusion, humans are thrill seekers who thrive off fear and being scared. There's a huge market for it in scary movies, novels, amusement rides, bungee jumping. Yeah, that's not for me. Why would I get out of a perfectly good airplane? Some people do. Some people want that. In subtle and blatant ways, we objectify the dark and prioritize the light. We perpetuate fear of the darkness instead of teaching the beauty of both the light and the dark in partnership together. By unlearning our collective fear of the dark, we invite healing and balance with light and darkness. The Divine Mother principle teaches us about the creative medium that pulls darkness as creativity in the gestation period of life. It nurtures our life. It is a safe, dark space of love that we're born into. So I'd like to leave you with this Mother's Day story from our foundations class about birth and death. And I've added a couple little things myself, so it's not exactly from the foundation material, but I think that you'll find this enlightening. Try, if you will, to imagine the most beautiful and perfect tiny baby you've ever seen, only a few days before birth, still in the womb. Imagine that you can communicate with this little soul, and you ask the question, what is your world like? Listen carefully, and you will hear the response. My world is a wonderful world. Here I am snug, cozy, and warm. I'm surrounded with love, and my every need is provided for, even before it exists. I hope I can stay here forever. Now you ask the question, where is your mother? What does she look like? You can almost imagine the little facial features expressing change and challenge to one of this quandary. Listen again and you hear, my mother? I don't know what you're talking about. What is a mother? Do I have one? You smile to yourself as you realize that this little one cannot possibly know anything about their mother until long after she's born and she learns of the parent-child relationship. And yet, she will never be any closer to her mother than she is right now, since she lives, moves, and has her being within her own mother. This is very much like our concept of God. We live and move and have our being in God, yet we know very little about God. Then does the unborn baby know about its mother? Maybe we're in a womb right now, and that when we make our transition, we're born into that world. Something conscious to think about. Then, although living in a world of comparative darkness, where the horizon is limited to the smooth, moist walls and surface of the womb, the unborn baby is suddenly filled with an extreme urgency and a miraculous desire to reach out for broader horizons. Maybe that's what happens when we make our transition. We get used to this world in such a way that it's done what it needs to do, and we look for new worlds. Where does the baby go when it's born? It doesn't go anywhere since it is already here, and yet a whole new universe has come into being where the horizon is ever expanding. It dies to the womb to be born into this world. Interesting. What is birth and death? Beyond the biological and physical experiences of being ejected from the womb, birth is actually the transition of consciousness as the baby passes from its seeming one-dimensional world in the womb out into the world of 3 dimensions. Following birth, this little one grows through infancy and childhood, adolescence, and finally reaches maturity, taking its place in the world of adults. Here we are. Then, eventually, death occurs. Maybe the result of an accident or illness or old age, but eventually death does come. It is now that we face 2 of the most significant questions in our entire existence. What is life? Life is the manifestation of the vital forces of God, individualized in a human being as an individual entity, because God is all in all. We live and move and have our being in God. That which we are is some part of God, individualized in us, as us. We live, therefore, that God may be more adequately and abundantly be expressed. What is death? Death is the passing beyond the three-dimensional world into the other worlds of varying dimensions. Just as the baby dies in the womb, into an ever-expanding universe with an ever-broadening horizon. We die, but we live. We live as we know it in the three-dimensional world. Will continue just as long as the body retains sufficient channels through which the vitality energy of God can flow. When enough of these channels ceases to function, the body dies. It is like discarding old clothes. So it is.
So it is.
It's time for us to follow our teaching, and we're gonna go into prayer now. So I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or take a soft focus on the beautiful flowers or the candles. Let's just take ourselves inward. So I invite you to bring to the forefront of your consciousness what you believe the energy of creative genius is to you. You can call it Christ consciousness, or Jesus the Christ, or source energy, great spirit, God, goddess. That's your business. You get to call it what you want. But I think we can agree that there is a power, and that each one of us is a part of that power being made manifest in this moment. So I speak my word for peace and harmony and love on this Mother's Day, knowing that that divine energy of creation is always creating. We are all expressing as God sees fit, individualized as our own lives. We get to choose our experience. And the divine always says yes, absolutely. I love you so much, I gave you choice. And here we are. So I bless our choices with the miraculous healing energy of divine right action, knowing that as we walk through this world of form, a miracle is happening for each one of us. We are thriving in consciousness, learning about ourselves, the world, and everything around us. So I activate that healing energy right here and right now, allowing it to move to all the proper places in consciousness, to elevate our thinking in a way that allows us to remember who we are, to learn from it, and to share it with others. For that is the love of the universe made manifest on a constant basis. So we give great thanks. Thank you, divine loving energy, for giving us this opportunity to live life to the fullest. We take that and we say thank you. And we release this word into the living, loving law, where we know it always returns multiplied and abundantly provided for. As we release this word by saying, and so it is. Amen. Okay, and now it is time for our offertory ideas about sharing. And we will, if you want to put the next slide up for us, we will recite this. My life is filled with divine circulation, and this offering is a token of that. I am blessed with prosperity and abundance, and so it is. And I'll invite our players up to play the song.
We have a really terrific, check. I'm not on anymore. Can we turn this one on?
The podium mic.
Podium mic,
Podium mic.
podium mic, please. Check. Oh, that's not good. Okay, so we're gonna be doing wonderful music out on the 27th out of Hummingbird Creek Farm. So if you're enjoying the music today, come out and hear what we've been working on.
Mother God, going through our hearts, we give thanks for the bread of our lives, for our hands in the earth, and the fruit of your womb. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Mother God, flowing through our hearts, thanks for the bread of our lives, for our hands in the earth, and the fruit of your womb. Mother God, blessed be. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Oh, Mother God, thank you for this day, for the love that you wash over me, and this joy in my heart I will share with the world. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Oh, Mother God, thank you for this day, for the love that you wash over me, and this joy in my heart I will share with the world. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Mother God, fill our hearts with thanks for the bread of our lives, for our hands in the earth, and the fruit of your womb. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. One more time. Mother God, our hearts, we give thanks for the bread of our lives, for our hands in the earth, and the fruit of your womb. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. 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 Oh, Mother God, blessed be.
slides, you guys. Here, look this. I don't know what else to do with it.
I'll take it. Check 1, 2. You can go ahead and press the button on this one. You can press the button off. I'll take it. Well, let's say a prayer for our offertory this morning, shall we? From the love of pure spiritual energy, these tithes and gifts have been collected. They're evidence of our faith, our belief, and our ability to manifest in this world of form. They do good work in the world and allow the giver to be blessed as well as the receiver. They allow this Grants Pass Center for Spiritual Living to be open and available to those who are choosing to remember who they are, and even for those who may not know it yet. And for this entire community is blessed. As we affirm it together by saying,
So it is.
It's time for our song. Let's stand up and sing together.
I don't have slides. There's no slides for this.
Winging it right now. Here we go.
Right here, right now, I'm gonna make a brand new start. Right here, right now, I'm gonna make a change in my heart. Everything I need, I now receive, and it's done to me, and it's done to me. Right here, right now, where I am. Right here, right now, I'm gonna make a brand new start. Right here, right now, I'm gonna make a change in my heart. Everything I need, I now receive, and it's done unto me as I receive. Right here, right now, where I am, where I am. Right here, right now, where I am, right here, right.
And now for our benediction.
Here we go.
Please repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening right now.
Something wonderful is
Happening in my mind.
It's happening in my mind,
In my body.
in my body,
And in the body of my affairs.
and in the body of my affairs.
I think it.
I think it,
I feel it.
I feel it,
And I know it.
I know
Just the way that it is.
just the way it is.
And just the way that it is not.
Just the way it is.
Thank you, life.
Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone. Now, if you're a mother, I have a rose for you. So if you'd like to come up and get a rose, and even if you're not a mom, if you want a rose, you can come up. And you have a pick between
Ever been in
red,
nursery?
orange, and pink.
Orange.
Okay.
Potential.
Good job, Tracy.
Oh my gosh, you guys are so good. Good. So good. Orange.